What's up, Facebook? Ty Crandall here, and today we're diving into business credit scores. We're talking about business credit. We're talking about business credit repair. We're going to talk about Dun Bradstreet. We're going to talk about Experian. We're going to talk about Equifax. We're going to talk about the scores you should know about them. A lot of people don't even realize that there's 5 scores or more offered with reporting agencies. We're going to decode what these scores are, how they work, what credit issuers, lenders, suppliers are using them for, how they determine how much financing you're going to get for your business, the rates and terms you're going to pay, and so much more. So by the end of this stream, you're going to understand the reporting agencies, the scores they offer. You're going to understand how to fix business credit if you have damage to your business credit with any of them. And we're even going to dive in a little bit and talk about how you can actually build some business credit using them as well. So today we are decoding business credit reports and scores. And we're going to start right here with Dun Bradstreet, the biggest reporting agency in the world. As a matter of fact, DNB is the biggest and the oldest credit reporting agency in the entire world. So if you talk about TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian on the consumer side, Dun Bradstreet was the first credit reporting agency. They were around like a decade before consumer credit even started. A lot of people think that business credit is some kind of new concept when it was around much longer than we even see that consumer credit was. And they have more records than any other reporting agency. There's about 275 million records with Dun Bradstreet. So here's one of the most important things that you need to know is that with Dun Bradstreet, they actually have 2 different kinds of scores. Then one of them is called a past performance score, The other is called a predictive score. So here's what you need to know. Dun Bradstreet offers 5 main credit scores. And Experian and Equifax offer about 5 as well. And these credit scores are broken down into 2 different categories. One is called performance, okay? One is called predictive. So performance scores are based on your past performance, what you've done in the past, like payment history, okay? So the Dun Bradstreet PAYDEX score, which we'll be diving into in just a minute, is based on your past payment performance. It's how you've paid your bills in the past. Then we've got predictive scores. These are used by lenders and credit issuers to predict how you will pay in the future using all different kinds of things like your financial data, your payment history, amongst many other things, even number of employees. Okay, so that's what the main thing you need to know about these 2 scores is that we've got performance scores and we've got predictive scores. Aaron, what's going on? So if this makes sense and you guys are getting value, do me a favor. First of all, tell me where you're from so I know where you're tuning in from. And then also give me a like to let Facebook know that we are spot on with what we're talking about so they can invite more people to the stream. So Dun Bradstreet, they have 3 payment experiences that you've got to have to get a DUNS number, to get a report established with Dun Bradstreet. It's going to be very important. You're going to learn why in just a minute. So if you want to get set up with Dun Bradstreet, you want to have a credit score with them, which is their PAYDEX, which we'll talk about. There's 2 things you must have. You need to have a DUNS number. You need to have 3 payment experiences reporting to them in order to have anything report to Dun Bradstreet. We got people from everywhere here. Atlanta Jansen, what's up, man? Welcome, Robert. Hey, so when we talk about this, there's 2 main things you need to have a credit report established with Dun Bradstreet. I get this question all the time. Why don't I have credit reporting to DNB? You have to have a DUNS number. If you go to creditsuite.com/DUNS, D-U-N-S, you can get your DUNS number set up for free. Doesn't cost you anything to do so. Never let Dun Bradstreet charge you. You don't need to pay for your DUNS number. Second thing, you need to have 3 what are called payment experiences reporting to Dun Bradstreet. 3 accounts reporting to Dun Bradstreet. If you don't have a DUNS number or 3 payment experiences, you won't have a score with DNB. Aaron calling in from California. What's up, Jansen? Dallas, Texas, Charleston, South Carolina in the house. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in and letting me know where you are from. I appreciate it. All right, so PAYDEX score. Dun Bradstreet's main score, and the main score in the business credit world is known as the PAYDEX score. It's ranged from 0 to 100, with 100 being the best score, and it's based on your payment experiences, your trade experiences, how you've paid your bills. Now, we just talked about there being 2 kinds of scores, ones that are based on past performance and ones that are predictive. PAYDEX score is based on how you've paid your bills in the past, so we see that it is a performance score. Okay, it's based on your past performance. Now, you can get Credit Signal with DNB for $24 a month to actually put alerts on it if anything changes with your PAYDEX score. If you want the cheapest way to get your PAYDEX score, you go to creditsuite.com creditsuite.com/monitoring. And I'm not able to switch it back to me. But if you go to creditsuite.com/monitoring, you can get credit with Dun Bradstreet and with Experian for only $24 a month. And I just showed you how to get credit signal with D&B, which tells you if anything changes, okay, just so you know. So D&B PAYDEX score, the main score in the reporting agencies, you're going to learn a lot, or you'll know, hear, and see a lot about PAYDEX because it's used by most lenders and credit issuers. But D&B also offers what's called a financial stress score. Okay, the financial stress score depicts your risk of going bankrupt in the next 12 months. The score ranges from 1,001 to 1,875. Okay, 1,001 means you have the highest chance of business failure. So they will actually look at this and look at things like your industry, taking into account with how financially stable your business is. Here's what you need to know here. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the loves. Thanks for going crazy on that, guys. That really helps us get more people in the room if this content is spot on. I think it's Alex Freeze going crazy with the likes. I love it, Alex. Thank you very much. So when we talk about D&B's financial stress score, here's what you need to know. You determine if D&B has your financials or not. You can actually take your tax returns, if they're even decent or good, supply them to Dun Bradstreet, and that will actually help you get better things like your financial stability score. Okay, so your financial stability score, how stable your business is. If you're choosing a high-risk industry, you get a lower score. You need to make sure here that you're choosing a high-risk industry. If you missed our stream last week, make sure you go back to Facebook and check it out. We teach you the NAICS and the SIC codes that you need to choose, you need to use to have a low-risk business industry. A lower-risk business industry means it's easier for you to get a better financial stress score. If you have a higher-risk industry, then it's harder to get a financial stress score. That is good. So that is what you need to know about that. Now, there's also a supplier evaluation risk rating, or what's called a SIR rating. And this is how likely you are to get legal relief from creditors, or basically cease operation and stop paying your bills. Now, this only really matters if you've got people that you're supplying products to. So if you are a supplier, this really matters because your customers want to know that if they're going to pay you, they're going to get things supplied to them. This really matters if you are an actual supplier. If you're not, doesn't matter as much. The D&B rating does matter though. 5A to 5H rating classification, and it's based on your company's size, and it's based on your worth or your equity. Here's what's interesting about the D&B rating. Very interesting about the D&B rating. Okay, is the D&B rating, first of all, looks at whether or not you supplied financials to them, and based on the strength of your financials, depicts how low or higher risk you are. Here's where things get interesting. If they don't have your financials, they look at the number of employees you have to determine your financial worth of being in business, being able to pay your bills or not. So when you file annual reports, you need to know that the number of employees you have really matters. It matters a lot because credit issuers and lenders are looking at this D&B rating and they're using it to determine if they should give you money or not in the rates and terms they give you. And if you haven't given Dun & Bradstreet your financials, which very few people have, then D&B is looking at the number of employees your business has to determine your worth, to determine how risky you are of lending money to. So when you fill out the number of employees with annual reports, be careful and know that the number of employees you have can actually hurt you if you're saying you have a lower number and D&B doesn't have your financials. That could actually put your rating as lower than it actually should be. As a matter of fact, these categories that the D&B rating has categorize what information they have about you. So you get put into a different classification on if they know your company's size, the number of employees you have, they have your financials, or they have none of that. Okay, so that's what really matters. Hey, and Anitra says, hey, what's up, Anitra? Thanks for coming in. So again, when it comes down to these, you need to know that D&B will classify you differently based on if you've given them tax returns. If they don't have that, then they look at the number of employees you have. If they don't have that, then they classify you differently because they don't have any of the information they have to be able to judge you accordingly. Now, there are more scores with D&B, but these are the main ones that you really need to know about. So let's jump in and talk a little bit more about Equifax. So when we talk about Equifax, there's a lot of things you need to know. And actually, while we're here, let's talk about how to dispute with D&B. You can do dispute with D&B two different ways. You can go to creditsuite.com/monitoring, get your reports, see what's on there, and dispute that way. Or you can also go to iUpdate. Now, if you go and type in Dun Bradstreet iUpdate, then what you'll find is through iUpdate, you're actually able to come in here and dispute at no cost with Dun Bradstreet, 100% free. You can update any information to iUpdate with Dun Bradstreet at absolutely no cost. iUpdate is the path to get your credit fixed and disputed with Dun & Bradstreet. Let's talk about Equifax. Now, Equifax is very unique because remember, we talked about Dun & Bradstreet. In order to have a score, you have to have 3 accounts reporting to them, or what we call payment experiences. Equifax is different. They'll give you a low score with no payment experiences, okay? That is the big problem with Equifax. Experian's the same way. So they have the small business credit risk score, and that's one of the main scores that you're going to see. There's some other ones that you're going to want to know about as well. Like, for example, they have the small business credit risk score. They've also got one for financial risk and for suppliers as well, and for business failure, the same as Dun & Bradstreet. So when we look at Dun & Bradstreet, they have their main score. Okay, with Equifax, that's the small business risk score. We see Dun & Bradstreet has a financial stress score, depicts your risk of going bankrupt. So does Equifax. We also see that Dun & Bradstreet has a supplier score. So does Equifax, okay? So some things you need to know. Now, basics. These are your trade experiences over the last 36 months, public records, etc. All those are calculated into Equifax. And remember, the small business risk score, okay, with this can really be low even if you have no credit reporting to them. In a minute here, I'm going to show you what that looks like with Experian. I'm going to pull up some actual Experian credit reports and show you what it looks like here in just a few minutes, where you can actually be given failing credit scores even if you have absolutely no credit. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like on an Experian report, but Equifax is exactly the same way. So you need to go to creditsuite.com, go to creditsuite.com/reports, and at absolutely no cost whatsoever, you can actually go in and check and see if you're set up with Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian now. So creditsuite.com/reports. Here, I'll show you exactly how that works. If you go to creditsuite.com/reports at no cost, you can do a check with each one of the reporting agencies to see if you're set up now. And I'll show you what that check looks like, and I'll show you why it's so important. So if we look at Equifax, Experian, and Dun & Bradstreet, you can access all of them from this page, creditsuite.com/reports. I'll use probably Experian as an actual example. So when you come up here, all you want to do is type in your company name. Do not type in your city or your address. Then you want to just select the state that you're in. That's it. Now, see here how easy it is for anybody that wants your business credit reports to get it. They're even giving you an option. Do you want a credit report on your company or somebody else's? Here, I'm going to choose my company. Now, when I do a search, one of 3 things is going to happen, as you're going to see. 1, they pulled up my exact address. Now, remember, all I did was give them the state, but they are saying, here's your name and here's your exact address. So either nothing shows up, your company name and address shows up, or the third one happens, which is it tells me that I have trade lines reported. So one of 3 outcomes. Nothing shows up, your name and address shows up, or name and address and trade lines. And here is why this matters. It matters because if your name and address shows up, but you see no trade lines, that means you probably have a failing score with Equifax and or Experian, whoever you check. That means you need to get a copy of your business credit report to see if you do have a failing score, and you need to get some positive credit on there to fix it. Christine, long time no talk to. Christine Farrell's on here, has built over $1 million in business credit. I've been thinking about you. I need to email you to catch up. And Steve, thanks for tuning in. So this is what you need to know about Equifax. Most importantly, you could be issued a failing score even if you have no credit. Now, they have a small business risk score for financial services where your actual scores range from 101 to 992, okay? And this predicts your chances of going seriously delinquent if you're in this industry. They've also got one if you are a supplier where your scores rank from 101 to 816. That again predicts your risk of severely delinquent or charging off if you are a supplier. Okay, and they also have that same thing, a business failure score ranges from 1,000 to 1880, and that depicts your risk of going completely bankrupt. So that's what you need to know about Equifax. Again, my most important lesson today for Equifax, they will give you a failing score even if you have no credit. So you need to make sure that you do that check at creditsuite.com/reports to make sure that that's not you, because I can't tell you how many people come to us because they're larger companies and they're denied credit and financing because of bad business credit, but they don't have bad business credit. They just have no business credit, and that's what created the issue for them. So let's talk a little about Experian. The same thing. You'll be given a low score even if you have no payment experiences here. I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. We're going to look at an actual Experian business credit report, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when you have absolutely no credit but a failing score. So you can see here that this is a 28 out of 100 score, with 100 being the best. We see that other score I told you about, that financial stability risk score, that is your risk of going bankrupt. It's 1 to 100, with 100 being the highest. You can see how low of a score that is. Here's what's crazy. Okay, you can see how low or how high risk that is. This is high risk over here. Okay, this is low risk over here. We can also see how high the risk is, but here's what's crazy. There's absolutely no credit on the credit report. I'm at the end. So as you can see here, there's no credit on this credit report, none at all. But they're giving you a failing score, and the reason is because you have no credit, and they don't like the business type. They don't like the SIC code. Here's what's even crazier about that. The SIC code is dance studios. I mean, what did dance studios ever do to people? That's messed up, Experian. Why don't you like dance studios? My daughter loves to dance. That's just not right. But you can see that that's what happens. Equifax and Experian, if they don't like your industry, which you decide, you need to choose the right SIC or NAICS code. If you don't choose the right industry code, it will be assigned for you and they'll put you in high risk. So if you don't know how to do that, go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Credit Suite. Check out our stream from last week. I decoded the whole thing, show you the right industry codes to choose. If they don't like your industry code and you don't have business credit, they give you the failing score just like Equifax. Something very important. Kevin Foster, what's up, buddy? Hope you're doing well, man. I haven't seen or talked to you in a long time. I hope life is treating you well. So Experian will give you that failing score if you don't have any. So some things you need to know. Okay, a lot of their data is coming from third-party services, people that you're actually submitting your information to on applications, or actual people that are reporting your payment experiences. And don't forget, you can go to creditsuite.com/monitoring, and for $24 you can get Experian and D&B. Don't get me wrong, I am not trying to self-promote our credit monitoring through NAV. Okay, you can go to Experian direct, but it's $50 a month. You can go to Dun Bradstreet direct, but it's $150 a month. So instead of spending $200 a month, I just want to make sure it's easy and affordable, and you can get it at creditsuite.com/monitoring, where it's only $24 a month. Intelliscore, the main score that Experian offers, 0 to 100, okay? The best score comes from you paying your bills as agreed. Now, and Experian is a little different. Unlike Dun Bradstreet, and unlike Equifax, where your scores are based strictly on how you pay your bills, when it comes to Experian, your scores are broken down this way. Okay, 76 to 100 is the lowest risk, and then you can see how the credit scores break down from there. Now, their credit scores are actually made up from other than just payment history. They look at inquiries. They look at your average age of your company. They look at the industry that you're in. They look at other factors. But with Experian, 85% of your score is based on how you pay your bills. So if you pay your bills as agreed, you're going to get good scores with all reporting agencies. Here, I'll show you. So when we look at an actual Experian credit report, here's somebody with a really good score, 96 out of 100. Remember, 100 is the highest score you can have. You can see how super low risk this person is. Here's the coolest part about this, though. They only had one account on their business credit report. You can see one account. You can see here is that account. It's packaging. It's probably Uline. There's no other credit here. So we can see that there's one account, and that one account's paid as agreed with less than $100 spent on it. And with less than $100 being spent on one account, it took them from a very low score. Actually, where's that payment trend? A very low score to a very high score. So the good thing about business credit, remember, as I showed you, is that you can go to creditsuite.com/reports. You can do a free search to see if you are known by the reporting agencies or not. Thanks for the likes and thanks for the loves, guys. That tells Facebook that we're teaching good information here and that I'm not just here like doing crazy things without teaching and providing good value. So remember, when it comes to Equifax, when it comes to Dun & Bradstreet, when it comes to Experian, 3 accounts get you a score with Dun Bradstreet. 0 accounts get you a credit score with Equifax Experian. And if they don't like your industry and you have 0 accounts, you're going to be assessed as high risk. So that's something you want to avoid. So that's how Intelliscore works. Now, we're not done here, because actually you've got to also know about FICO SPSS. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit more about disputing with Equifax and disputing with Experian. Look, I'm going to make this real simple for you. If you want to dispute with Equifax and you want to dispute with Experian, get credit monitoring with them. If you get Equifax or Experian's credit monitoring, they make it super simple to dispute right through their credit monitoring. Dun & Bradstreet, you don't need credit monitoring. You can dispute with iUpdate, and all you have to do is give them the information that's inaccurate. Sometimes they will come back and say, sorry, we're going to keep it. We believe it's accurate. And if you provide them documentation proving that what they have is inaccurate, they will change it. Remember I told you the importance of having the right industry code to stay low risk? Well, for example, we are a software company. We chose that. But Experian had came in and said that we were actually not a software company, that we're financial services, and we disputed it with them. And they said, sorry, that information is verified. We believe it to be accurate. We supplied our Dun & Bradstreet, we supplied our Equifax credit report and our tax returns, all showing the same NAICS code as software services. We said, you're wrong, everybody else is right, please fix it, and they changed it. So that's an example of disputing, them coming back and not wanting to change, us supplying documentation, and them changing the information as a result. So that's how disputes are done. Now, FICO SPSS, this is based on your payment experiences with the business credit reporting agencies, okay? So here's how FICO SPSS works, and you need to know. FICO has a small business score called the SPSS score. It's pretty crazy, and here's how it works. It pulls data from a lot of different places and congregates it into one score. It starts with your business credit reports. Typically Dun & Bradstreet first, Experian second, Equifax the third. I say typically because the lender decides how that score is weighted, but that's typically how it is. It will go and it will pull information from D&B, Experian, and Equifax. Here's the problem. If you don't have information established with the business credit reporting agency, next it goes and pulls your consumer credit instead. So if you have consumer credit issues, you need to build your business credit, because your FICO SPSS score will never be high enough for you to get loans like SBA if you don't have established business credit. And if your consumer credit's bad, you definitely want to build business credit so you have a high FICO SPSS score, because what will happen is FICO will look at your commercial credit scores with Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian first. Then they'll go to your consumer scores. So if you give them tons of history on your business reports, your FICO SPSS score is going to be good, even when your consumer credit is not good, even when it's bad. But it's the opposite. If you have bad consumer credit and no established business credit, that FICO SPSS score is going to be way lower than you want it to be. So some other things beyond that, okay? You also want to make sure that you're paying your bills on time and in full. In the business credit world, you do get more credit if you're paying those bills in full. Now, let me clarify what on time means. Your business credit scores are based on how you pay your bills. In the consumer world, you can be 30 days late before they even count you as late. In the business world, when you are 1 day late, you are late. They consider that to be DBT, or days beyond terms. Here, I'll show you on a real credit report exactly what that looks like. So you can see right here that there are days beyond terms, DBT, of 1 to 30 days late, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, 91 plus. This is what establishes your score. How many days beyond the terms you're given you are. So even if you are 1 day late, you will have a lower credit score. So when it comes to business credit, here's the secret. Pay your bills early. As soon as they let you pay. If I have a Staples account, which I do, that reports to the business credit reporting agency, the minute they populate my statement, I pay, even before I get the bill in the mail. If I'm using a source like Uline or Quill, they let me pay the minute the item is shipped. So when that item is shipped, I pay the bill. Now, be careful. You can't pay the bill before the item ships. If you pay a bill before the item ships in the business credit world, it's considered a cash transaction. You won't get any credit for it on your business credit report. So pay the bill as early as you can, preferably as soon as they let you, as soon as the item is shipped. Some places like revolving accounts like Staples won't let you do that. You've got to let that bill get populated first. Remember, earlier you pay, the better. Don't apply for too much credit at a time. Not a big deal, but with Experian, that does matter, okay? Inquiries don't matter a lot with commercial scores, but with Experian, they do have a little bit of an impact. Use a business credit building service like we have to put more accounts on your business credit reports. It's something else you need to focus on as well. Look, in the consumer world, you can accidentally build credit because everything reports to the consumer reporting agencies. In the business world, 97% of accounts don't report to the reporting agencies. So a lot of people come in our door trying to get loans and credit lines. They're denied because of bad business credit, only to find they have no business credit because all the credit they got from all these vendors didn't report. You have to be very aware and conscious of building business credit. So do you want a free assessment? If you want a free assessment to see where you stand now with Dun Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax, and us to give you some free tips on exactly what you need to do to build your business credit and establish your credit reports quickly, go to creditsuite.com/consult. creditsuite.com/consult, completely free. We'll sit with you. We'll do a fundability check, see where you stand with Secretary of State, how fundable your business is. We'll do a free check with Experian, Equifax, and or Dun Bradstreet, see if you're established, see if you have trade lines for them then. We'll help you get a free copy of your Experian and Dun Bradstreet with NAV for 30 days so you have free access to your business credit reports. And we'll also tell you all the funding you can get now at no cost. We do it all for free. Okay, I don't even know how we make money. We give away so much stuff for free. So it's creditsuite.com/consult. Whew! Know about you, but I'm wore out. That's a lot of information in a short period of time. Now you know how your Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian scores work. You know there are multiple scores. You know there are predictive scores that predict future risk. You also know that there are performance scores that are based on past performance. We've talked about the main scores. We've talked about the second, third, fourth scores that you'll see on your business credit reports. We've looked at commercial credit reports. We've looked at real examples of how all this applies. We've learned all kinds of tips on improving your FICO SPS score amongst many others. And most important, you know you can go to creditsuite.com/consult and we will actually meet with you and go through, get you a free copy of your business credit report, do a free fundability check, and a lot of other things to help you get on the right track to build your business credit. So hopefully you got a lot of value here. If you have, go to creditsuite.com. Well, go ahead and give me some more likes and loves. That gets more people to see this in the future. And then go to creditsuite.com. Top right of our page, you can access our podcast. You can access our Instagram, our Twitter, where we have daily tips. You can access our YouTube Live, where I have a PowerPoint that I go through every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern. And you can also get notified when we go live again in the future here on Facebook as well, okay, where we go live every 2 o'clock Eastern, almost every Tuesday. And Steve says creditsuite.com/consult. Okay, so Steve, that's creditsuite.com/consult, like consultation. So if you go to creditsuite.com/consult, you're able to get all of that for free. And if you have any questions, give us a ring at 877-600-2487. 877-600-2487. A lot more to come in the weeks to come, guys. This is the kind of stuff that we're talking about. We're going to be talking about how to put together a pitch deck for angel investors and venture capitalists, okay? We've already talked about virtual addresses. Last week, we talked about SIC and NAICS codes, and if you follow me, you know what happens after next week. All these chalkboards get wiped clean, and we have 4 more lessons for the months to come. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Don't forget to go to creditsuite.com/consult, CONSULT, to get your free consultation so we can help you build your business credit. Have a great day.